Hi everybody, it's Miss Jaimie, and today we are going to be doing our pumpkin face lacing. So if you have the kit, you should have a few items in your bag already. You should have 2 paper plates, and they should have hole punches in them. If you don't have the kit and you want to do this yourself, you just need the paper plates, and you need to hold them with the bottoms facing out. And then you would hole punch so that all the holes on both plates are equal to each other. Then you'll need a piece of orange yarn, an orange crayon. You can also use orange paint. You'll need a pipe cleaner, a green one. And you will need, in your kit, you will have 2 different yellow strips of paper. One of them bigger will be for our mouth, and one of them smaller will be for the eyes. And you should have a brown piece of paper, which will be your stem. And then you will need a pencil, a pair of scissors, and a glue stick, which are not in your kit. So once you have all of those, we are going to first start off by coloring our plates. I've already colored one side in orange. Again, you can use paint or a colored pencil or marker, whatever you'd like. And you're going to color the bottom side of the plate. So if you're eating like this, you want it to be the bottom. And now I'm going to just color in my other plate. This plate you might have to squish down a bit. You don't want to squish it too much because it won't look as nice if it's not all popped out. But that's fine if it gets a little squished. And you just are going to color it in. So I like to do a rim all the way around. I'll take my crayon and give it a few tries right around the rim there. And I'm going to fill it in and then color there. Alright, so I colored it in, and I did flatten it a little bit, so I'm just going to kind of smush it back a little bit so that it kind of looks like our plate again. And you can pause the video if you want to color the other side too. And now that we're ready, we are ready to put our 2 sides together. So we're going to be lacing in and out. So you're going to start off at a certain hole, and all of the plates should have a little marker there on the inside of the plates. And you're going to match up where the other marker is, and those holes with the markers, the little pen marks, should go together. It doesn't matter which one's on the top and which one's on the bottom. You might have a plate that says top and bottom, but that was just for the cutting purposes for the holes. And you're going to take your yarn and you're going to stick it through the first plate and then through the second plate. And we're just going to tie a knot to tie the 2 plates together. So I'm just going to tie a knot right here and tie a double knot. So that is our starting point. Alright, and we're just going to put our plates back together, and we are going to start weaving. So there's different ways you could weave. You could start with your yarn in the top here and go through this hole and take it through the next plate and through that hole. And then you would come back around and start again from the top plate into the bottom plate. Or you could do it the other way, which would be go through this top plate and go through the bottom plate, and then go through the bottom plate and go through the top plate. and then you would go through the top plate and then back through the bottom plate and go, so it would be alternating which side you're starting on. So you might still be crushing your plate as you're doing it, and you might have to separate them a little to make sure that you get your plates, both holes on the plate through. But you can try whichever way is good for you. And to make it easier, especially if your yarn is starting to fray a little bit, you can try to twist it, or you can put a little piece of tape around that top bit. Alright, so I'm going to start off, and I'm going to do through the top plate, and then thread it through that hole, and we're going to pull it through, and I'm going to still be on the top and through the hole that the bottom plate has. So it should even out, and you might get a little tangled, and you just have to move it off of your plate. So that's what that looks like. Right, so just to recap, I did it through the top hole, and as you can see, in between the plates, I went through and continued to the bottom hole on the bottom plate. Now, as you can see, it has this line going across like this. So I'm going to now do that on the other side. So now we're on the bottom of the plate, and I'm just going to go find the next hole and go through the bottom, and then we'll find it through, and then we'll go through the top plate from the bottom. And now you'll have a line on this side. So we have it on the bottom and we have it on the top. So now my next step is going to be from this top plate, and now we're going to go from the top. Alright, and if you wanted to do it the other way, you would start from the top and you would be going through the holes on the same side. So if you start from the top, you'd be going through that top plate into your bottom plate, and then you would be wrapping it around. See how it goes across the side? Then you'll be wrapping it around and going again through the top plate into the bottom plate, and wrapping it around through the top plate into the bottom plate. So you can alternate patterns, you can do whatever you'd like, and it's just all about finding your skills to get this yarn through some holes. Alright, so I'm going to keep going along with my pattern, which is alternating going from the top into the bottom plate from the top, and then from the bottom plate into the top plate through the bottom. So it's going to have this alternating effect on both sides. Both ways are really cool. I like how this looks as well. So if you want to make another one at home, if you have more supplies, you can do that. And you can have a little pumpkin patch of all different pumpkins. Alright, so I made it through all the way, and I have all the different holes, and I have this. Again, remember, if you're having trouble, you can put, mine started to fray a little bit, so if you're having trouble with that, remember you can put a piece of tape, and you can make it a little bit easier. When you get to the final hole, we are going to wrap it around again, back, over, and into the same hole we just went through. So it kind of gives it, you might need an adult for this. Right? And then, now it's in between the holes, it's in between the plates, and I'm just going to tie a knot. So I'm going to take this and tie it by going under the loop I just made. So we have this loop, I'm going to go under it. And then I'm going to put my thread now through the loop that I just made. So it's kind of like having your shoelaces tied. And then it has a knot right there. You might want to do a double knot if you want, or you can give it a little bit of tape if you want. And I'm just going to cut a little bit of the excess off. Alright, and now your plate might be looking a little bit flat, so I'm just going to kind of mush it back up a little bit, just like you did before when you were done coloring. On both sides. You might have to stick your fingers in between the plates. And there you go. So now you have your pumpkin and you are ready to decorate. Right, so you should have 2 pieces of yellow paper, and one of the longer ones will be for the mouth and the shorter one will be for the eyes. So you can use your pencil to draw out a mouth. On this one I have a little pointy mouth, and you can use it to draw out your eyes. I have 2 triangle eyes, or you can just freehand it with a scissor. So whatever is comfortable for you. I'm going to make mine a little bit of an oval. So I'm just going to basically cut off the edges. But I'm going to draw an oval. So he looks like he's screaming. Or he's laughing. Right, so I'm just going to draw that oval. And I'm going to draw 2 triangles. If you have something that looks like a triangle and you want to trace it, you can go right ahead. But I'm drawing 2 triangles and a mouth. Or you can draw out some spiky bits. You can draw out some square teeth. Whatever you want to do. And I'm just going to cut this out. Depending on the design you have, you might want to flip it over so that you can have the side that doesn't have pencil marks, or you could gently erase it like I did if your other side is not looking so great. So the more you erase on the construction paper, the more marks you'll make. So I'm just going to glue these together. I'm going to put my glue right on my construction paper and press it right down. Again, you might crinkle your plate down a little bit, but we can always pop it up. We've had lots of practice now. Alright, just gonna pop that. You might want to let it dry a little bit, depending on what type of glue you're using. But the glue stick shouldn't be too messy. Then we have the brown piece of paper, and we can do the same thing. So we can either use a pencil and draw it out, or we can just kind of freehand and cut it. And it's gonna go, you want a bit to overlap right at the back of your pumpkin. So it's going to go right at the top bit, and it's going to go on either side, whichever side you think looks better. I'm just going to freehand it a little bit. So you can keep it as a rectangle, or you can make it kind of angled a little bit. You can curve it a little bit. But I think this will look nice if you want to hold it up against your pumpkin. And look, I think that looks good. So I'm going to glue it right on the back here. If you have a piece of yarn, you might want to stick it under it. And I'll make the glue stick better. Just gonna stick it right under my piece of yarn here. And I'm just kind of while the glue is still wet, kind of move it around a little bit just to make sure it's in the place I want. And to hold it down for a few seconds, I'm actually gonna stick my finger in between the plates so I can press it together. And give a little bit of pressure and make sure my glue sticks. Alright, and now for our final step, we are going to take our green pipe cleaner and we are going to stick it through our hole that's right next to our stem. So this top hole, and we're gonna weave it through both the bottom and the top holes, and we're gonna leave a lot of it flopping around, and then we're gonna take a little bit and we're gonna fold them together and kind of twist. So if you have a twist tie at home that you might put a bag with bread or something like that, you might have used a twist tie before, and we're just gonna twist so that now our pipe cleaner can stay onto our plate. And now the fun part, you're just gonna wrap your pipe cleaner and you're gonna bring it all the way to the back of your finger and just kind of gently roll it around, not too tight. And we're gonna make a little curly Q. So now once you take your finger out, you can kind of adjust it to how you want it to look. If you want to curl it a little bit more, you could probably take a pencil. It would be even smaller of a curl though. And you can adjust it how you want. You can cover up the little knot you made with your yarn. And of course, always pop out our plate. And there we go. There's our pumpkin face. So let me know below how your pumpkin turned out. And as you can see, no two pumpkins look alike. One's darker, one's lighter, one has different faces. And it's all with the same colors. One has different lacing around. So let me know if you did all the different types of lacing or a different pattern. Let me know. And I'll see you soon at the library. Happy fall. Bye-bye.